I don't tell this story often, not because people don't believe me. Most of them do, which is somehow worse. I don't tell it because every time I say it out loud, I hear it again. Not the memory of it, the thing itself, low and patient and just under the sound of my own voice. So if you're the kind of person who gets ideas in their head and can't get them out again, this would be a good place to stop. There were 3 of us, me, Aaron and Pete. We'd been camping together since we were 19. It was the one thing that survived all of it, the jobs, the moving away, Aaron's marriage, my divorce. Once a year we'd load a car with too much food and not enough gear and drive until the radio stations turned to static. That year Pete picked the spot. He'd found it on some old forestry map, a drainage called Blackrock Creek. No trail markers, no campground. 2 hours of fire road past the last farm gate, then walk in from there. He said it looked untouched. He was right about that. The fire road took longer than the map promised. Roads out there always do. By the time we parked, the light was already going flat and orange through the trees, and the air had that cold smell that comes up off the ground in the mountains, like wet stone. We walked in maybe 40 minutes. Pine, mostly. Big old growth, the kind that kills everything underneath it, so the floor was just needles and bare dirt. No scrub, no birdsong either, but I didn't notice that then. You don't notice quiet, you only notice it later when you're trying to explain what was wrong. We found a flat bench of ground beside the creek and set the tents there. 2 tents. Pete had his own. He snored like a diesel engine, and we'd stopped pretending otherwise years ago. Aaron got a fire going. We ate, we drank, we talked about people we used to know. Pete did his impression of our old foreman, and it was still funny after 15 years. That was the first night. I want to be clear about that. The first night was good. It was one of the last good nights I've had. We fished the creek in the morning and caught nothing worth keeping. Aaron found a stack of stones on a rise above the camp. Flat river stones, a dozen of them, balanced in a column about hip height. Old, furred over with moss on the north side. Pete said it was a cairn, trail marker. Aaron said there wasn't a trail. They went back and forth about it the way you do when you're bored and comfortable, and then we forgot about it and went back down to the water. I've thought about that stack of stones more than almost anything else in my life since. Somebody built it. Somebody stood on that rise, out past the last gate, past the last road, and stacked stones as a marker. I don't know anymore if a marker means this way. Sometimes it means not past here. The second night the fire wouldn't take properly. Damp wood, we said. It burned low and orange and made more smoke than heat, and we sat closer in than we had the night before without deciding to. It was Pete who heard it first. He stopped mid-sentence, just stopped with his mouth still open, and turned his head toward the tree line, and he said, "Who's out there?" Aaron laughed at him. I didn't, because I'd been hearing it for about a minute and telling myself it was the creek. You have to understand what it was like. It wasn't a voice calling out. It was the sound of people talking quietly a long way off. That texture, that up and down of conversation coming from somewhere out in the black past the trees. Too far to make out. Close enough to know it was words. We called out. Nothing came back. The talking didn't stop either. It didn't react to us at all. That was the part that got into me. Anything alive reacts. A person out there would have gone quiet, or answered, or laughed. This just continued at exactly the same volume, in exactly the same place, like something playing back. Aaron said hunters. Pete said the creek and the wind. I said nothing because I'd worked out by then that it wasn't coming from one direction. It was coming from a ring, all the way around us, out at the edge of the firelight. We went to the tents early, all 3 of us pretending. I woke up because his tent zip was open. That sound, a nylon zip in the middle of the night, I can't hear it now without my whole chest going tight. I lay there listening to nothing. Then I heard his boots on the needles, walking away from camp, steady. Not stumbling, not searching, walking the way you walk toward a house you know. I said his name, not loud. I want to tell you I shouted, that I got up straight away, that I did something. I said his name once, in a tent, into a sleeping bag, at 2 in the morning. And I heard him answer somebody, not me. He was already too far off to have heard me. He answered something out there in the dark, in a normal conversational voice. The tone you use when someone said your name and you've turned around to see who it is. He said, "Yeah, I'm coming." Then the walking stopped being audible and the talking stopped altogether, and the forest was so quiet I could hear the blood in my ears. We were up with torches inside 2 minutes. Aaron went upstream, I went down, both of us screaming his name until our voices cracked. The woods took the sound. That's the only way I can put it. You yell into open country and it goes somewhere. In there it went nowhere, like yelling into a coat. We found one boot print on the sandbar, pointing away from the water. Then nothing. We kept it up until the batteries died and the sky went that dirty grey that isn't morning yet. At first light we found him. He was maybe 400 meters up the slope, in a stand of dead pine, standing perfectly upright with his back against a trunk. No shoes, feet cut to pieces, eyes open. Aaron got to him first and grabbed him by the shoulders, and Pete just looked at him, looked through him, and said in a voice I'd never heard him use, "They're still talking." Then he blinked, and he was Pete again, and he asked us why we were crying. He couldn't tell us anything. He remembered getting into his tent. He remembered waking up on the slope, 9 hours in between. Gone. We packed the camp in 40 minutes and carried him most of the way out. The hospital found dehydration and lacerations and nothing else. No head injury, nothing in his blood. They used the word dissociative and sent him home to his sisters. But he was different, and everybody who knew him could feel it inside a week. He'd gone quiet, not sad quiet, listening quiet. He'd be halfway through a sentence and stop and tilt his head slightly and wait. Then carry on like nothing happened. I asked him about it once, on his sister's back step. I asked him straight, "Do you still hear it?" He said, "Only at night," like I'd asked about a leaking tap. And then he said the thing I've never repeated to anyone. He said, "The worst part isn't that they're talking, John. It's that they're not talking to me. I'm just close enough to hear." It went on for 11 months. He stopped sleeping in his room and slept in the hallway with the light on. He put a radio on all night to cover it, and then a second one. And then it stopped working. He rang me at 3, 4 in the morning, and I'd sit up with the phone against my ear and listen to him listening. The last time I saw him, he looked 10 years older and he was calm. That's what I should have understood. He'd stopped fighting it. He told me he'd worked out that the only way to stop being close enough to hear was to stop being where the hearing happens. I told him I'd come up on the weekend. Pete died on the Thursday, by his own hand, at home, alone. He left no note, which everybody found strange, and which I didn't, because there was nothing he could have written down that anybody would have accepted. Aaron doesn't talk about any of it. He hasn't camped since. I don't blame him. I went back to Blackrock Creek once, in the winter, on my own, which was stupid, and I knew it was stupid while I was doing it. The stack of stones was still on the rise, still a dozen of them, still balanced. There was a second stack beside it. I didn't stay the night. Here's the part I never say out loud, and I'm going to say it now, and then I'm going to stop. It's been 6 years. Some nights, when the house is very quiet and I'm lying there in the dark, I hear it. Far off. Low and patient, and going up and down like conversation, out past where the streetlights reach. And I don't hear my name in it. Not once. It has never once been talking to me. I'm just close enough to hear, and every year it's a little closer,